just updating something in the bio. It said that I founded SERP. Actually, I did not found it. It was founded by Badr program. And it was because of the effort that happened by Badr that I was able to recruit the angels, just to give due credit to the people who did, sitting in the first row. Okay, I'm going to talk actually not generally, but more about what we really need here for the entrepreneurs in Saudi Arabia. It is very important to know that entrepreneurship in Saudi, or the focus on entrepreneurship has started very late, in the last 3 to 4 years. There will always been entrepreneurs in Saudi Arabia, dating to the times of the Prophet ﷺ. But not before 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the word was not even known, was not translated properly. I myself did not know what an entrepreneur was. I thought we were just in business. So this whole thing started very early, and we are a little bit lagging countries like Jordan, Egypt, and Lebanon, which had started entrepreneurship programs a few years back, including the Oasis 500 accelerator, which started 4 years ago. While our accelerator is only 1 year old, so you can tell. And due to that lag, most of the entrepreneurs, or the new breed of entrepreneurs that we have in Saudi Arabia, are in the seed stage. They are not, late investment ready, because we started planting the seed late, so we would expect to harvest even a little bit late. So incubators, accelerators, entrepreneurship centers in school are now encouraging more entrepreneurs to get into the field. And this is why we see more young men and women now taking this up. Entrepreneurs lack the most, which about covers everything. First of all, let's talk about the innovative ideas. I have very nice cartoons here with every slide, hoping to wake some people up. But let's try to see if we can do that. I'm not really a big advocate of saying that you can make an entrepreneur. Sure, some people have the bug or the gene, and we can groom them to become entrepreneurs. But I believe that there's something about an entrepreneur, which is basically seeing solutions where others see troubles, and then you can take them, nourish them, and make something out of it. But since I don't make the rules, let's see where this goes. If we can make entrepreneurs, then we are actually lacking innovative ideas. In my theory, they should come up with their innovative ideas. But since we're making them, what I notice from most of the startups that come to me is that the ideas are not really disruptive, or breaking through, or could be internationalized, or could be exported. And I think the main problem is education. These guys, if you feed them proper ideas, proper education, they will come up with something that is knowledge economy, IP, that can be exported. But you put them through the local schooling system, and you get what you get. I'll give you examples of some of the startups. Like an ironing machine for routers, something for sheep, selling sheep over the net. These type of things that are extremely local. And I wonder if we can actually export these ideas. They're pretty much stuck to our culture. However, to give credit, the ideas that come from those coming from the scholarship program and from KACST in particular are different. And I can tell you, one of the ideas that came out of KACST was for crowd management, and they did a pilot in Al-Haram, the mosque. So crowd management is a big thing, and they have this IP on camera that captures this. So, because they have this big visualization program in KACST, this idea was able to come out. But then from the other schools, you get what you feed. So I think this is one of the major problems. I think we need to nourish the scholarship students, to have more programs that can advance knowledge if you want really to export knowledge. So otherwise we should call this the entrepreneurship economy, not the knowledge economy. Because if you want to export knowledge and IP, I think you have to put some more effort to that. The second problem that most of the entrepreneurs have in marketing. They lack the abilities to study the market, study their product. Entrepreneurship is about business. It's not something else. You might call it entrepreneurship, but you're at the end of the day just like the guy selling at the stand, lemonade stand. You are selling something. And most of the guys get offended when I tell them you're selling. It's like, no, I'm an entrepreneur. So what do you do then? So, you know, selling means marketing, meaning positioning, meaning you need to sell stuff. So unfortunately, this idea is like alien to a lot of those guys in our ecosystem. The third point, which I maybe touch in my questions today, is the seeking funding. You know, there are basics to this rule, to this game of seeking funding. You can't just show up at the door of anybody and ask for money. You know, you can't go to a bank when you're a seed stage company. You can't go to a VC when you're an idea. There are just rules here, and we have to teach them. And unfortunately, the people I talk to in the incubators and accelerators, they just try to put up a fight with me as if I'm, creating these rules. And actually, you have to first position your startup. So if you're in the seed stage, you should be seeking seed funding, you should be going to the accelerator. If you haven't sold much, you don't have the money, you're the value best, go to an incubator. If you have a product and you have made some initial sales, go to an angel group. If you're scaling, go to a VC and so forth. So these very basic ideas are really required to be implanted in those who are giving mentorship to startups in the different organizations that we have. And then we have all sorts of problems. Now the real game starts. Post-launch, it's all game and fun, and selfies, until you actually go and hit your market. And then really the real fun starts. Nobody knows anything, actually. There's regulations, there's licenses, there's dealing with the zakah and the taxes, there's dealing with all sorts of people, there's dealing with your customer. The basic thing of customer support and talking to your customers and attending to their needs and scaling your business, and clueless. Actually, that's not even in the dictionary here. And unfortunately, a lot of the mentorship programs, they claim that they have these nice businessmen which go there to have a photo op again and a selfie, and none of them really sits with the entrepreneur and guides them by the hand. It's just, and some of these come up there and say, it's okay to fail, and then I have a startup coming to me the other day and says, I failed 3 times. Okay, I'm supposed to love you now, or what? I'm not sure. So, okay, so, all sorts of wrong interpretations of different things are coming out. People think that failure is a must for you to become an entrepreneur. They claim that Jobs dropped out of school, and Bill Gates. Well, Bill Gates came back to Harvard. Jobs had, classes, and he didn't drop out. And then you have the guys from Google are PhD students who actually created a PhD project and then found an investor before they graduated. You have the YouTube people who are PhD students. You have all sorts of ideas of people that actually did not drop out of school. So why do we take the 3 or 4 that dropped out of school and make them a model? And then you come to me again, and I'm not making this up. The first line, this is like the catchphrase, the first line of 3 entrepreneurs that came to me once to pitch, we all dropped out of college. Well, okay. So, do you have any prior records of doing anything? No. Okay, so please, can you give us some money? So, so I think now that mentorship can be provided to those guys or those startups in more than one way. And I think, today we touched upon many of these. The first thing is institutional. We already have the channels. This is the good news. 4 years ago, this could have been Japanese to a lot of people. Nobody would know what an incubator, accelerator, or entrepreneurship center is, but now actually we have around 11 or 12 incubators and supported incubators, accelerators, at least 3 or 4 of them, entrepreneurship centers in many universities, all sorts of forums and conferences, and just go to the hashtag selfie and you'll see all of them. And then you have a lot of training programs also. So we can provide this mentorship through these different institutes by installing the proper mentors there and trying to give the guidance to the startups and entrepreneurs. The second way of, an actually more permanent way of giving mentorship to a startup is giving a board seat to somebody with experience. And we have a problem here with the culture with giving away shares. But if you are partnering with an angel or a VC, then that becomes just a must. They will sit on your board and help you. But also you can do that to somebody that you really like. You can even either, because you can't pay, definitely you can't pay a businessman, so you can just offer him some kind of shares to be on the board with you and help you. And actually at the angel group at CERB, we had this case where the angels were interested in the startup, particularly because it complements something in their offering, and they really wanted to give the mentorship to the startups. And then you can have ad hoc mentorship. I don't know if you should call it ad hoc or not, which means not necessarily that person is a partner, but you really want him to mentor you. You want to call him whenever you need him. It's very hard for a businessman to pick up the phone just because he loves you. I mean, if you don't give, you're not going to be able as a startup to pay him. So just give him, a percentage of the company and benefit from his added value to your startup. And I think we need to are afraid of giving away shares. They even actually come to me in the angel group, and then we reach the point where the angel says, "Here's the money," and then the partners fight with each other because they don't want to give up shares and they haven't made a decision. So there's a lot of immaturity here in the market, and I think it is part of the institutional responsibility to just promote those ideas and facts, actually, what everybody else in the world is doing. I mean, we're not inventing things here, and we should actually promote that idea to them. And then there's a lack of resources, and by that I mean educational, either textbooks or books on the subject or articles. I really wish we have business cases, Harvard-like business cases here that we can actually share with our students. There's a lot of good cases in Saudi Arabia of people that made companies out of scratch. And due to the fact that there were no resources, I actually wrote the first book probably on the subject. I called it 84 Tips to a Successful Business Startup. It has 84 tips, 84 cartoons from the ones that you saw, and 84 examples. They are not to the level of a Harvard business case, but at least it gives you an idea about other people that have done things, and maybe it will become, some kind of a motivation to those who read. And speaking of resources, not only we don't have any sort of resource regarding the region or Saudi Arabia, but Arabic resources is even worse. So less than a handful, 5, actually 4 resources. The first book that was ever written about startups in the region was by Christopher Schroeder. It's called Startup Rising. What you see here is a translation of it. Unfortunately, the book was not a tip book, or does not give a lot of details, but it gives inspiration and motivation because it has a lot of stories from the region, from startups that made it, particularly Aramis and Fadi Abdur and some of the startups in particularly UAE and Jordan. And then there's Business Model Generation that was translated by Jarir. And then now under translation is the Disciplined Entrepreneurship by Bill Ollett of the MIT Entrepreneurship Center. And the fourth book is mine, which is going to print today. So, since I came here on my own, I have to plug my book, so it's available on Amazon, Kindle, and iTunes. And if you're interested in the Arabic version, النسخة العربية موجودة على 84tips.com. You can learn when it's going to be published, and you can also get freebie, 3 tips actually. Thank you very much.